Hello, and thank you for watching this Ag Forecast for Thursday, August 4th, 2022, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard. You're probably expecting to hear Eric's voice right now, and I gotta tell you, Eric is at the mercy of the weather right now. We do not get a free pass as meteorologists. He was delayed, had flight canceled in St. Louis last night, and now he's in DC, just stuck waiting on thunderstorms to clear, and is not likely headed anywhere quick. Or anywhere anytime soon, and we'll check in on Eric here in just a moment. But I'm jumping in, and as I'm jumping in here kind of last minute, it will admittedly be a bit of a brief update here, a little light on the analysis, and what I really want to focus on is just giving you an update on the critical rains that we're watching over the next 4 to 5 days, where we think those are going to be falling as we watch a series of systems come in here, a series of frontal boundaries across portions of the Corn Belt. We'll take a look at the hazards map here, though. Thursday evening, a lot of heat. We've got heat advisories extending all the way from Texas into the northern plains. We've got red flag warnings across portions of the Pacific Northwest. We've got heat advisories here on the East Coast as well. And then between that, we've got some flood watches here across portions of the Ohio River Valley, where we've had slow-moving storms producing locally heavy rainfall. So the ridge continues to drive things across the central U.S., and it's those systems coming over the top of the ridge that continue to be critical here over the next week or two. Of course, beneath that, a lot of triple-digit heat extending from Texas all the way up to the Canadian border, feeling some of that heat all the way into portions of southern Saskatchewan here on Thursday afternoon. A little bit cooler, but still quite muggy as you make your way off to the east. Portions of the Corn Belt where temperatures are in the middle 80s, but again, a very muggy air mass, a lot of slow-moving thunderstorms popping up across the area. Some badly needed rainfall across portions of the eastern Corn Belt over the last 3 days. And I speak from personal experience here, again, where Eric and I live, where we typically are recording these videos from Champaign, Illinois, where we've been just missed by everything that's come through here. We've had, a series of frontal boundaries come in here and just kind of miss us with storms. We've seen them die on our doorstep, fire back up on the east side. A lot of people, they speak from that. It seems like, my locations always get missed. My farm gets missed. Our town always gets missed. Well, that's been our experience here in Champaign. We finally I measured 1 inch and 63 hundredths there, so 1.6 inches here in Champaign County in my backyard gauge from storms over the last 24 hours. And again, some of those extremely slow moving and producing at times 8 to 10 inches of rainfall across some single locations. So it's, again, continues to be a story of the haves and the have-nots, and in a lot of cases, the extreme haves and have-nots across the Corn Belt here. We'll check in with the latest drought monitor. Again, this is what I was talking about along the Illinois-Indiana border, where we finally brought in a soaking rain to this area, and we did so without a lot in the way of severe weather. Just a couple sporadic reports of some severe winds. Did not see much in the way of severe hail over the last couple of days in the eastern Corn Belt. But it's back here across portions of the plains where we continue to be very concerned with, again, another round of heat coming as we head into next week, another period of dryness. So anything we can squeeze out of the next 5 to 6 days is going to be critical across these regions. So we'll look at the satellite picture, what we've got going on as the sun begins to set on Thursday afternoon. You can really see the flow of the ridge here, the clockwise anticyclonic flow around that area of high pressure, just kind of parked right here across the central United States. We'll look at the radar, and here you see it. Here's the frontal boundary extending all the way, from eastern Canada in through the Great Lakes down toward the southern plains. Showers and storms along that frontal boundary as we got the day started, and then as the sun comes up, heats up the air mass here. We start to build all that instability, and we just create these air mass storms. Again, these thunderstorms that produce locally heavy rainfall. They don't move a whole lot, although we are seeing a bit of severe weather across portions of the Northeast, and that's where we're going to have to zoom in here. And this is where Eric is sitting on a plane, not heading anywhere anytime fast as thunderstorms continue to pop up across the area. In fact, he's under a severe thunderstorm warning right now as we come up on 5 o'clock this evening. A couple fun things to point out here. You see that little line that's moving from north to south across the radar screen? That is the outflow boundary from storms off to the north. This is what I'm talking about right here. If I kind of rock back and forth, you get strong winds associated with that. And so again, that's why Eric is stuck on the ground. You get those strong gusty winds. They can create, chaotic, turbulent conditions during takeoff and landing. And so they're in a full ground stop there. And as the last frames of the radar played out, you see that storm pop up there. Just, 1 or 2 radar frames, very rapid initiation of new storms moving right toward his location here at the DC airport. Now, as we zoom out, A lot of wind damage reports across portions of the eastern Corn Belt into the northeast, starting from Ohio here all the way across Pennsylvania, portions of West Virginia, Maryland, getting into even central, southern, and eastern New York, and now those storms continue on into Vermont and New Hampshire. Several severe thunderstorm warnings across this region as well. So an active, stormy afternoon along and east of the Mississippi River. So side by side here, here's week 1 on the left, and then we've got week 2. This is the precipitation anomaly forecast from the European ensemble model. Again, continuing to have heavy rain along this stalled frontal boundary, and then another front that's going to be sinking into the region over the weekend across the mid-south, parts of the eastern Corn Belt. This is the critical area that we're going to be talking about as we head into the weekend, with the frontal boundary stalling across the region, several disturbances impacting or interacting with that frontal boundary, kicking off clusters of thunderstorms, at times producing locally heavy rainfall, perhaps some severe weather as well. As we get into week 2, we're going to be reintroducing, kind of resetting the pattern, reintroducing some heat and some dryness to the plains. And, I'm showing this, but I'm also going to just draw an X through it right now. And I'll punt to Eric to kind of give you some deeper reasoning here during his next update. But we're entering a period of very low predictability. So I'm not punting on week 2 to necessarily say that I don't want to talk about it. The truth of the matter is there's very low confidence here. And so we're going to just save the details of week 2 for a later update and focus on what's happening over the next 5 days here first. So here's what we got. The ridge parked right here over the midsection of the central and southern plains. A trough right now making its way into portions of western Canada. We've got another trough here across portions of the Hudson Bay. This is the area of low pressure with the frontal boundary extended across portions of the eastern Corn Belt and the Ohio River Valley. We'll put this into motion over the weekend then. I'll go ahead and just stop this so I can use the slider bar here. We'll head into Friday, get going into Saturday, and then we start to see this wave make its way into the northern plains. It's this first wave that makes its way through the prairie right here, Thursday and Friday, that leaves a frontal boundary then kind of draped right back across this region. And then we see this next wave come out of the northern plains, and that's what kicks off multiple rounds of showers and storms here as we head through the weekend. And then getting on the other side of that, Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, the front finally makes its way off to the south and kind of clears the Corn Belt, resetting the pattern. The other key to this then is we'll look at the precipitable water plot here. We've just got a continuous feed of moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico here. As I just animate this, there's nothing to stop the daily thunderstorms across portions of the south, into the mid-south, the Ohio River Valley. Again, these are going to be those air mass thunderstorms that go up during the afternoon. They don't move a lot. They dump a lot of rain, perhaps some gusty winds or something like that, but not a lot in the way of steering jet stream winds to kind of move those thunderstorms along or to organize them in any sort of fashion. But there's also, no jet stream support to kind of move that frontal boundary out of the area. So that's why we just continue to be stagnant until, let's look up here at the top right there, we get into Sunday and Monday. You start to see that system make its way through the northern plains into the Great Lakes, and then the front starts to sink to the south down toward parts of the Ohio Valley here, and we kind of reset things. There you see the front make its way all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico with the morning update here from the European model. So that's what will finally reset things, kind of knock back the humidity here, knock the dew points back from the upper 70s to near 80 where they've been, and kind of, give a break from the daily thunderstorm activity across this region. So what this looks like then when we look at the European model, the precipitation forecast, just the operational run here verbatim. We'll go ahead and pause and bring this back. Here's the area of low pressure across the Canadian prairie. A lot of rain falling north of Highway 16 across portions of northern Alberta into north central Saskatchewan. I would imagine there will be a couple of severe storms as well, producing large hail, maybe an isolated tornado from southern Alberta into southern Manitoba over the next 48 hours. Again, Thursday afternoon, we've got all the thunderstorm activity here east of the Mississippi, across portions of the mid-south, the south, and then all the way over toward the east coast where we've got those severe storms keeping Eric hostage. We'll take this into Friday. The pattern just resets. Thunderstorms redevelop across this region east of the Mississippi. Here's the storm system now moving through northern Manitoba, the frontal boundary extended through northern Minnesota down toward the North Dakota-South Dakota border, And then this is where we'll see our first day of severe storms here, or at least isolated severe storms, Friday afternoon and evening. Let's drag this forward into Friday night and now Saturday. The front still kind of not making that much progress. We get into northern Wisconsin. the Minnesota-Iowa border down toward portions of central Nebraska. This is when we'll see again isolated to widely scattered storms here across South Dakota and Nebraska. A little bit more widespread across Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then the same thing, rinse and repeat air mass thunderstorms here across portions of the South, the Mid-South, off into the eastern United States. Here we go, Sunday morning and now into Sunday afternoon. This is when the northern plains wave kind of rides over the ridge, starts interacting with that front. The front now from northern Wisconsin, same place here, Minnesota-Iowa border down into Nebraska, parts of western Kansas. We'll see another run of thunderstorms then Sunday afternoon and evening. And then the front begins to move off to the south as we get into Monday. Now this will be Tuesday. And then getting into Wednesday. This is when we finally start to kind of, almost like a squeegee. The front takes the moisture, brings it down through the Mid-South into the southern U.S., We'll reintroduce heat and we'll reintroduce some dryness here as we get on the other side of Wednesday and Thursday of next week, August 10th and 11th, heading into kind of the August 10th through the 15th time frame, looking at a little bit more heat and a little more dryness across the Corn Belt, which is what makes the weekend into early next week so critical. Quickly looking at the jet stream winds, again, this kind of just ties the story all together. We'll go ahead and pause it, bring it back to present day here Thursday into Friday. I mentioned a lot of instability, a lot of heat and moisture across this region, kicking off those slow-moving thunderstorms. You can see the flow of the jet stream here, coming out of the south, and then we've got it coming out of the north here. You see the frontal boundary just stalled right across this region. No strong jet stream support to move the front or to organize these storms, so we just get the same thing every day here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sun comes out, heats up the ground, we get thunderstorms just popping up across the region in disorganized fashion. Where the jet stream winds are, that's where the organized storms will be, and again, that's where the frontal boundary stalls out this weekend. Here we go into Sunday and Monday. This is when the front finally starts to get pushed off to the south here by this northwest flow, and the pattern begins to reload. We park the ridge right over the Central Plains, reintroduce heat and dryness across the region. So just stepping forward day by day. Here's Friday evening, where we've got the instability on the left and then the precipitation forecast on the right. Again, Friday evening, most unstable out along ahead of that front from northern Minnesota into North and South Dakota. It's where we expect isolated storms. It's where we have a marginal risk for strong storms on the day 2 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Then we head into Saturday. The front sinks a little bit further to the south, a little bit more kind of east-west in nature, extending from maybe northern Nebraska into along the Minnesota-Iowa border into central Wisconsin. That's again where we'll see those organized storms begin to pop up. And then the problem is, it's kind of one shot and then you're done. Here goes Sunday, and then we're on into Monday. The front is continuing to sink off to the south. Here we go. This is Monday evening. The front now extending from southern Kansas through Missouri into Illinois, into Michigan, through the Great Lakes, and then continuing south from there. So as we kind of look at the probability of picking up 1 inch or more of total rainfall over the next 7 days, again, where the probability is highest along the Ohio River Valley, parts of the Mid-South, where we've got daily opportunities here for these heavy rain-producing, slow-moving thunderstorms. And then the other area where you've got a higher probability is across portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin, maybe eastern South Dakota, where the front kind of lingers Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get a multiple day opportunity to pick up a couple of clusters of storms in the area, get a little bit more widespread distribution of that rain. You head further off to the west, though, into portions of, central South Dakota, into Nebraska, Kansas, where we really need to get that rain. We'll take a look at this a little bit differently. The area is already quite dry there, and the front only lingers for maybe a day and a half. And so you've got a shorter window, and you've got lower storm coverage. So it's a double whammy. In the east, across the eastern Corn Belt, parts of the Great Lakes, you got multiple days, opportunities for heavy rainfall. And then off toward the west, you got one shot, and it's going to be lower coverage, much more isolated in nature. So now on the left, you're looking at the probability of picking up less than half an inch of rainfall over the next 7 days. And then on the right, you've got your 10 centimeter soil moisture percentile here. And again, across portions of South Dakota, Nebraska, much of central and western Iowa, even into portions of southern Minnesota here. This is where, again, we've got the opportunity. We'll have to watch closely, though, and see how well we can cash in on what's going to be maybe 1, 2, 3 days to try and get some of this rainfall. Now we'll look again quickly at the European versus the GFS. I've shown you a lot of model graphics from the European and kind of left the GFS out. The reason being, not because it's more, pessimistic, which it is. The map you're looking at here is the precipitation difference between these two over the next 7 days, and where you see the green shading is where the European model is more aggressive with heavier rainfall chances, and that's just about everywhere across the Corn Belt. The GFS much drier, not quite as aggressive with the frontal boundary, and not quite as excited about thunderstorm chances across the region. Now the good news is, and the reason why I've leaned toward the European here, is that in recent weeks we've seen the GFS skill score fall off quite a bit, especially in comparison with the European model. So we'll ride that and we'll cross our fingers as we head into the weekend. And again, as I mentioned, heading into week 2, low confidence in how exactly this is going to shake out. We'll kind of reset the pattern. We'll go back to this triple ridge setup, which is going to reintroduce some heat and some drought to the portions of the central U.S. That includes a lot of the plains and then parts of the Corn Belt. But as you make your way into parts of the central and eastern Corn Belt, there will still be storms. We're still going to be kind of lobbing these fronts over the top of the ridge. And that's why you see a lot of dryness across parts of Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. And I think, even extending further south into maybe parts of the Mid-South, the model just not doing a great job at picking up on some thunderstorm activity that will likely exist once we get toward the middle part of August after, kind of resetting this pattern and letting things kind of reorganize and reset. Temperatures over the next 7 days, again, we're going to get a shot of cooler air associated with that front this weekend into early next week. Heat does rebound on the backside of that, but then we'll kind of have to see, there will be more fronts, especially in the east, parts of the eastern Corn Belt. That's where, again, more opportunities for rain, more frequent shots of cooler air versus the western Corn Belt. Things a little drier, more frequent or less frequent rainfall opportunities, and longer extended periods of this triple-digit heat, which we're seeing here. We'll finish with high temperature forecasts over the next 5 to 6 days here. Starting with Friday, tomorrow, triple-digit heat extending all the way into the northern plains. We start to cool off rapidly behind that front on Saturday. Highs in the northern plains in the 60s and 70s. Drastic difference. Sunday, the cool air makes it a little further south even on Monday. High temperatures in the 70s and 80s across the entire Corn Belt, but the heat begins to rebound Tuesday and Wednesday, heading deeper into the end of next week. Heat expands across the rest of the central U.S., taking up a lot of real estate, across the Corn Belt. Eric will be back with us here tomorrow morning with the Morning Minute and his usual email, and then back with us again on Monday evening. So thanks for bearing with me with this little brief update. Fingers crossed for you folks in the western Corn Belt that we can cash in on these weekend rains with these systems making their way through.